Shema if you went through it. Okay, the reading is now streaming. Can we start? Do we start? How does this thing work? Okay, I guess I'm going to start.
Is Rebbe's video off?
It says live. Am I supposed to do something on this?
Is Rebbe's video off?
My video off? Not that I know of. No, why don't you hear me?
I don't see Rebbe.
Oh, I'm the one with the black box. This is a shikul nekama. Oh, it's been done. Okay, see, I'm dressed the way I should be at home. No shirt. It's hot. Okay, people, let's roll further with this Shemona Prakim and finish it. There's also a lot of interesting things in this one too. Okay, so we're in the Shemona Prakim, in the continuance, which is your third side of the Shemona Prakim. The page starts with Ein Adavar Came. We did that paragraph. We go down to the bottom of the right column. Paragraph which starts, Hine Nishalona Davar Echad Lavaro. And this is really what's important, the ikar of this whole paragraph. There are psukim which people seem to see and imagine. Hashem gozer al hameri, he actually is geyser on averus. And this is thing which is deterministic. You do an aver because it was meant to be, because God wants it to happen. But this is obviously something which is meaningless. So we have to understand these psukim. Thus we will explain them. Now, Lamaisa, there's a whole parak in Hilchos Tshuva on this, but he's good over here. I do suggest afterwards reading Hilchos Tshuva, Perik Vav. But there's pieces there which are not here, so we'll first finish this here. This has been a subject which people have been discussed. One of the psukim which we know in the Bris Bein Absorim, where the pasuk says Vavadum Ve'inu Osam Amru Nekfar Gazal Amitzrim Leharel Lezer Avram. Hundreds of years before it happened, that God says, "I'm telling you, Vavadum Ve'inu Osam Umadua Hi Nisham Ve'emuchachim Al Kol Panim LeShabdam K'Moshe Gazal." In other words, you think carefully, l'chayra, the question is, well, God says they will, that means they will. I mean, it's not just because God knows they will. God says they will. I want to be very explicit here. There's a big difference between the idea of Hashem and the idea of the way it comes down afterwards through the Navi. The idea of Hashem is not machriach, that any hechers that you have to do it. That's something we'll discuss. The Rambam discusses at the end of this chapter. But anything written in Navi means it has to be. Because if the Nevuah is not Miskayim, he's a Navi Sheker. That the Rambam points out, what's the raya? Prison the Navi Emes or Navi Sheker. If the Nevuah is Miskayim, it's a Navi Emes. If the Nevuah is not Miskayim, it's a Navi Sheker. So forget about the fact that Kosh Baruch Hu said he was menabed that idea to a Nivra called Avram Avinu. It has to happen. Because Avram Avinu is Zichar Navi Emes. Sometimes that the idea given within the heck of the idea of a bnei adam al koch, it's machriach. It has to be. Not it means to say that it causes it to be, but it means it's definitely going to be, which means to say it's deterministic. That's his kasha. This is not the question of Yediyah versus Bechira, and that alone won't answer the question. Whatever you'll answer to Yediyah versus Bechira will not apply to the Yediyah of the Navi through Nevuah. Once the idea has been bought, etc., so it's governed by the idea of the Navi. The idea of the Navi is a idea like yours and mine. So there's someone which is machriach. This is the oimik of this question. It says Vavadum Ve'inu Osam to Avram Avinu. So Avram Avinu was menabed. He didn't hear it, on a recording. He had it through Nevuah. So the kasha now it's Yediyah Avram Avinu through the foot. That's the kasha. Madua nisham ve'muchrachim al kol panim, because Yediyah Hashem, which is written to a navi. The Shabda and Kosher goes the V'tshuvas Shaila Zur. On this question, Itak has to answer. Shezed domeh ki ilu amar yitaleh, as if God would have says ki asher yivaldu ba'atid, those who will be born in the future. Yumem mamrim v'nishmoim. There will people which will be rebellious. The people which will be obedient. Tzadikim v'rishoim. What God is simply saying, this reality is going to be taking into account the frugality of man. That there's going to be people which are going to do well, there are going to be people which are going to do bad. That's the truth. It's called the statistical truth. God is not making it exactly. He's saying, listen, the reality is there's going to be X, there's going to be Y. Knowing the cultural clash between the nations, this is going to happen. And therefore what? Just because God says, look, in knowing the typical situation of the Afro-American community in New York, there will be rioters. Does that mean to say that every person has to riot? Does that mean that Jack Pliny has to be a rioter? No. It means to say, yes, knowing the the overall reality, I realize that certain things will spark tensions and there will be riots. The extent that that stupid mayor allows them to party and if they do fireworks, whatever he does, that's something else. That's not examen hashamayim. That's the tipshus. But the fact that there's going to be rioters, I could have told you myself. I don't need a kashboch tell me that. You can also tell me that. I can promise you that in New York, within the next 24 hours, there'll be a few murders. There'll be a few Genevas, Gzelas. There'll be Bachsham. There'll definitely be parking violations all over Brooklyn. No, have to be another for this. This is Yediyas Hashem. I know the nature of reality. So God knows the nature of reality better than us and realizes when we're going to be in Egypt, taking into account whatever the tensions we have, there's going to be people which are going to do terrible things. Thank you. So that's what he says. He doesn't say that each Pliny. I said, I know. God is speaking like an anthropologist, dealing with the dynamics of human beings. That's what the Rambam says. Pliny Russia al Kopani, Pliny at Tzaddik, she had Tzaddik al Kopani. I'll call me, she mem Russia. I raise a bit to know if you chose to be the Russia, that's your will. I know there's going to be Rishoim here. To what extent will there be Rishoim and who will be the Russia? That depends. That's the Bchira Chofshis. Ve'ilu Ratzah liot Tzaddik hayad davar biyado ve'en lo monea. Nothing would stop this specific Egyptian from being a tzaddik. God did not tell the Navi on any specific person. That you could say that there's a decree on me that I should be a tzaddik, I should be a Rasha. He, according to his basic composition, how he will make decisions and what his capabilities are of making intelligent decisions, it'll be his call. Is he capable of making better decisions? Every person is capable. Train yourself. No, there's no eitzah because I didn't train myself. As the Rambam said, the only heter would be a tinuk shenishba. Therefore, he doesn't have the capability of making intelligent decisions. But the Rambam suffered somewhere in today's times where all the literature is open. And everything is around. There's no more teretz of tinuk shenishba. I want you to know that people use this very freely, very much further than what the Gemara uses. The literature is there. You just have to have a bchira. I want to read. Well, I'm sorry. That's what you're responsible for. It's your job to learn to read. Like the law also describes it. In any civil law, you understand one cannot say, well, I didn't know it's us to steal. I didn't know it's us to jaywalk. Your responsibility as a citizen of the world is to look at the laws governing your society. That's the given. There's no such teretz, Eimer Mutter. Eimer Mutter doesn't work. It's only good for in the Torah. Okay, when there's a toast. But to say, I didn't know, go learn. So the Rambam first. Today, all the information, even the times of the Rambam, he felt that all the information needed to live a life of true faith is accessible to any person which chooses to look for it. He's not a Tinuk Shenishba anymore. That's a first Rambam. That's what he explains over there with the Ravid says, what do you want? Great people made mistakes in Hashkafa, so they should be Tinuk Shenishba. So the Rambam answers that in Mer Nevuchim. Says there's no such thing. They should have gone and learned. So you can't excuse. So the nebuch apikoros isn't that much of a nebuch. The nebuch is, you fool. Why didn't you use your time and your wisely? Yeah. Why? Because I enjoyed baseball. So you're an idiot. There's no excuse for that. So there's no tinnik for nishma for being an idiot. So use your time. What can I do? Okay, thank God you joined Karen B'Yavin that you're told at least twice a week that you're an idiot if you don't use your time. So now you're definitely not a tinnik for nishma. Okay? Okay, that's a davar pasha. It does versteh da. Hayda lebal kol echad ve'echad shem kvar nigzor alai ela bo b'stam v'nisha kodem b'rtzonik v'ikar oifi ativi. V'chein kol echad ve'echad ma'mitzrim she'eru ve'etzeru Yisrael, and any individual mitzri which did bad to the Israelites, elu ilu rotza, if he should have wanted shalol arelem, he would have chosen not to be bad to them. Hooray! He definitely had the capability of making that decision. Okay, so one has to understand that seems to be a davar pasha. The obvious question on this is, what happens if they all had bechira and they all decided? So then what would happen to the nevuah? If they all really had free will, and they wouldn't have done, and they would have all exercised it well. So how can you tell me that the Navi says there's going to be Rishonim? That's already, I don't understand. Someone has to be a Russia. This is a question that the Ravid asked. You have sheets of Ramam Hilchos Tshuva in the original sheets that he sent. Look in your phone. So the Ravid asked this question in Perek Vav Tshuva Halacha Hey. And the Ravid asks, Amar Avram, Elohim arichas varm she'ena metuvalim. Let's just say there's no salt and pepper. What this man talks a lot about. He has a way with words, this fellow. The Chaya Reishi, Imam swears. Chaya Reishi is a lesson shvua, right? Chaya Reishi, Kimat Shani Aimer, I almost say, Shem Divrei Nair, is that they're adolescent talk. He's being nice. He says Kimat. You know what I mean? In other words, this is boundary foolish. Why? Yomar Boreh Lazoinim Lama Zanisa Va'anilo Iskaticha B'Shem. What are you saying? To prisoners Bezana Zana Achar Dvoim Aroim, God will say, why did you do this? I didn't tell you to do this. Kadesha Tomar Shalecha Gazati. You know what they're going to answer? Yomer Lo Yazoinim Va'mi Chalak Zerascha Al Oisan Shalei Zanu. So who's your gzera on? I'm the one that didn't do it. If you weren't geyser on anybody, so then, so to speak, what are we doing? What happens? We all would have been good. Your gzera wouldn't have happened. So your gzera is saying it's going to happen. How can you tell me because you didn't tell John, Dick, and Harry? I didn't say John, Dick, and Harry. But I definitely said there's going to be. Well, if there's definitely going to be, what did you answer? This is the Chayra's Kasha. It's a serious question. How does one answer that? In other words, what did the Rambam help me with the statistical truth? Very nice. He didn't talk about John. He spoke about Oifen Kloli. He said it. But Oifen Kloli must translate itself into pratim. You can't just say, I gave a general decree. Yeah, but it means that if your knowledge is not machriach, but you told it to a Navi, and that has to translate itself into pratim. So at the end of the day, it's a idea machrachas of pratim. What's the answer? The answer is the question doesn't begin with the great mechilas koid, you know, whatever. And this is obviously the Ravid, and I don't know what to say. But it's the chayritz a davar pash. I don't know even agid. It's the chayritz a davar pash. I'm going to explain the Rambam. Okay, it's a davar pash. It's Baruch Hachama that God knew who was going to sin. Because the idea of Kadosh Baruch Hu is the idea of Yuduyek, God knows you're going to sin. Yes. But that idea is not machriach, as we discussed, and we will discuss later. We discussed in the past. The idea of Kadosh Baruch Hu is not machriach people. He knows it. He knows it like someone that knows it in after time, in a very simple way. The only reason we think I know that the future will happen is because of what? Because I now know what will be. So obviously, if my knowledge is accurate, that means it's really going to happen. But if I know it after it happened, that didn't say it had to happen. I know it after it happened. What about God, which is not within the confines of time? So his knowledge is not going forward or backward. It's from above down. Then for goodness sakes, why would you think that yediyah is machriach more than the yediyah of afterwards? Just like a yediyah going arrow back after the time, going towards the event is not machriach. And also an arrow going down from top towards the event is also not machriach. The only yediyah which is machriach is a yediyah beforehand, which tells me it's going to happen. If the yediyah is accurate, that means you know it's going to happen. But just as you understand that hindsight doesn't say that it had to happen, the only foresight you understand somehow that this had to happen. Well, a sight which comes not hindsight, not foresight, but rather outside of the confines of time, definitely there's no logical reason to say that it has to happen. It's got two separate issues. I know the truth, but this doesn't mean that it's going to force you. That's that would be the simplest answer. Although the Rambam doesn't give this, but this is actually the simplest answer. The Rambam gives a much profounder answer, which we will see shortly. But at the end of the day, that question doesn't begin. So the fact that God knows something doesn't mean to say that you're going to do it. This is a theological question which we dealt with, we'll deal with again. The only problem was because there was revealed knowledge to the Navi. Granted, but was revealed was not pratim, only a stam and klal. That's also not machriach. Does God know his gezerah will be fulfilled? Yes, he knows, but that's the idea of his, which is not machriach. What's machriach if the idea came down to a navi? What came down to a navi was klolim and not pratim, so that's also not machriach as a prat. That's the answer to the question. In other words, you have to include in this answer, you have to incorporate also the reason why the fact there's a qualitative difference between the idea of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, which is not given to a navi, and the idea of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, which is given to the navi. And then you make this palgina. And you understand the yediyah, if the yediyah to the Navi was the John Doe will do an Avera, that's Machriach. The yediyah of a Kadosh Baruch Hu would not do an Navi, that John Doe will do an Avera is not Machriach. Well, very good. God knows that John Doe will be Chayta, but was given to the Navi was not John Doe, but there will be. So everything works. So that kasha really falls off. That's the honest truth. That's far, far from being different naros, to say the least. Just wanted to explain that. So this goes back to, let's go back to the Rambam. So the Rambam Taka writes this. Now in here, that's number one. Now the Rambam continues and says there are something like that dealing not just with Mitzrayim, but about the Jews themselves. And what is this? We're back to the Shemona Prakim in the towards the end of that column. But Tshuva zu atzma, hiya tshuva b'amarai. We have this answer is needed for another question. The pasuk says in Choshu Chevim Avotecha. This is, we know this. This is the before Vayim Vayelech. V'kama omazeh, v'zona achrei Elohei nechar haaretz. No. So that's the same question. That's the same questions. And this is written in the Torah. It's not nitn of Bnei Adam, was given in Nevuah. Why isn't this machriach? Ask the question there. You don't have to ask about that. Ask about this. Ki ein hevdel ben zeh ubein hamarom shakol ha'eved avodah zarah nasa b'ikach v'kach. V'she'ilu lo yahaya sham la'olam mi she'yavar hayukol ha'yum levatala. There's obviously going to be people which are going to sin. I know human nature, they're going to sin. I did not talk about a prat. I talk about the cloud. Knowing people coming in from the Midbar with all the Anania covered set, but as soon as they go into the Eretz Ha'amim of Knat, with all the things that need them, I put them 1,000 shmiras, tzitzis, and I don't know what else. That you keep their eyes in their sockets and their hands in the pocket, but I know them. Not everyone's going to do Krishna with Kavana. Not everyone's going to look at tzitzis and think of Kisiya Kavod. V'chulu, v'chulu, v'chulu. Look at ourselves and understand. Why do you think for 2 minutes the Dor Boya Arts don't have their challenges? They also have their same challenges. And what does it say? So I know there's going to be such failures. It's not just I know that. I even look in Sefer Dvarim and I read, and the whole book is about failures. Open Sefer Dvarim. What is the unique part of Sefer Dvarim? Look at all of Sefer Dvarim. What is it? It is roughly something like a third of the 200 and something mitzvahs, which were not said before, said there. Saying that Sefer Dvarim is nothing more than a chazorah is a person which doesn't know his million on mitzvahs. There's like 230 mitzvahs there which are not said anywhere before. So the concept Mishnah Torah meaning chazorah is a bit problematic, and that would be an understatement to say the least. I'm thinking now of a Taisvis in Yavamis, Daf Dalit, which says that Sefer Dvarim is all mufna, it's all meyuter, it's all a chazorah. Don't understand it too well. I don't argue with Bali Ataisa, but I can say I don't understand them. There's like a third of the Torah there which is not written before. Does anybody know that? It's a very simple thing to do. You open up a Sefer HaChinuch according to Parshas and look at the list. Medafnish Zainkin, your base of Engel for this. This you can be Yankel Beryl Shmerel, you know what I mean? You just have to be curious. Okay, so Lamaisa. So what's the character of Sefer Dvarim? If you look carefully, there's like 5 rolling drushes. What are the drushes? I know you're going to fail. I know you're going to be terrible, but you better behave. If not, I'm going to throw you out of the country. A very not theological book, a very practical reality. All these great Arboim, Shona, Midbar, wow, 38 years of Kulei Kedusha, Ruach HaKodesh, Nevi'im, I couldn't get it was. As soon as you hit the realities of Eretz Canaan, I know you guys are going to fail. This is the name of the game. And now he's not admonishing, what do you mean? No. He hits the Jew in the pocket. He says, you're going to lose house and home. It's a very interesting, say for Dvarim, the threats there are not threats of Gehenna, of I don't know. He's talking about, I'm going to throw you out of the country. You want a nice life? Behave yourself. You look at Sefer Dvarim, that's the whole nusach of Sefer Dvarim. What are the mitzvahs which are unique of Sefer Dvarim? If you've ever made a list of the unique mitzvahs of Sefer Dvarim, I can give you a list, but they're really not the pleasant ones. For example, all the things which need achraza, Eit Zaymem, Ben Sarah, Meir, Motzi Shemra, all places where divorce, okay, the fact that you have to command an Avos Hashem, which means it's not obvious anymore. Now we have to command it. All through our Arboim Shon B'Midbar, they didn't have to command an Avos Hashem because it was obvious. I know God, I love him. All of a sudden, the Sefer Dvarim will say, no, you actually have to command you on this. You know, it's like going to, you must command, you must love this person, which means it's not obvious anymore, isn't that? Isn't that obvious? You're commanding, you're talking about Zakein Mamre. You understand? Beforehand, that never happened. And beforehand, all of a sudden, we have an attack on the basic Omid al-Hira of Torah Shebal Peh. Edim Zaymamim. This is found only in Sefer Dvarim. Ben Seir V'Meira. Motzi Shemra, really, divorce. I can go on and on discussing failures of the institutions of religion, and that's what Sefer Dvarim is all about. It's all about Jews will fail. It's as simple as that. It doesn't mean to say that you have to fail, or you have to fail, or you have to fail. It means there will be failure. It's a natural reality. I don't understand whoever thought otherwise. So this idea of the Rambam is quite simple to anyone that learns Chumash. Learns Chumash, right? So that's what he said. God says it's going to happen. And he already sets up a whole system of laws for these failures. There's a Chiv Skila, Chiv Sreifa, this is Malchus. These are all failures. So God sets up a reality, knowing human nature, said there will be failures. And in case of these failures, this will be the halachic reaction. That's what the Rambam writes. She'ilu lo yeshem la'olam mishi yavar, ayu kol ha'yum levatola, ayu kol ha'klos kol levatola. So we know that there's going to be failures. Are we going to say because God set up skila, that means there has to be some Machal Shabbos? Shtiyat. It's describing a natural reality without pinpointing anybody. And in such a reality, these are the laws. He writes, "V'lo bigla metzias din skila b'Torah naimar shezeh shechilas Shabbos muchach l'chalaloi." What do you mean? You said there's going to be a Machal Shabbos. Well, there had to be somebody, so here I am. No. Below b'metzias haklos no masha ois masha avdo avodizor b'chol b'hem ois haklos nigzar lehem la'avda ela b'rtzonei avad kol misha avad b'chol lehem ha'onish gam heim bochu b'darcheim ki ani efkar gam ani efkar, etc. That's Mavur. So he's trying. First, the answer to the broad question is, when you have psukim like this, God is not talking about a gzeira of any person. He's talking about a statistical reality, knowing, taking into account human nature, and the fact that people fail. and failure is included in the equation, okay? But there has to be a reaction to failure, just as you people fail to heed their health, and therefore there has to be medicine to remedy it, okay? We all any reality has to take into account failure and the remedy or the reaction to it. That's all this is. What will happen? Then the guy, what's the guy going to do? He'll send the VM and have to do tshuva and etc. And if that doesn't work, other things will work. This is all based not on a person; it's based on a statistical reality. But then this question is not hard to contemplate. That doesn't bother us, as they pointed out. The idea of a Kadosh Baruch Hu may be on the pratim, but that's totally irrelevant to the dialogue here. As far as the idea written in the Torah, it's just based on statistical reality. So this is the way the Rambam is understood, and we're Miyash of the Asaga, the Ravid. But then there's another topic, and the second topic is harder. We have places where God specifically says, I'm going to make sure that he won't be able to do tshuva. Now that's taking away Bechira. So why are you punishing him? That's by Parai. So Rambam continues and asks the question, Aval, this is like topic number 2, Amarov v'chizakti is like Parai. I will make his sensitivities callous. And afterwards he punished him because of this callousness. He did not react to Moshe's demand. So what happened? He punished him, and afterwards he actually destroyed him. He destroyed it totally. In Kriyas Yamsuf, it was totally destroyed, Kol Chel Parai, etc. This is really an issue. That's already serious, because you're talking about a certain person, and you're saying v'chizakti is liboy. So why is he punished? Where's the tzedek? This is a serious question. You said, God, we elaborate on this, and you will have a major fundamental idea in Yiddishkeit. Please contemplate and listen attentively to what is being said. V'sim libcha by livava yavin means try to not just to hear it and to know it, but to understand it. Sim libcha means from the pasuk livava yavin. There has to be chachman, there has to be bina. Okay, what is this? After you hear what I have to say, you can now parallel it, equate it to whatever else is written. He's offering you the alternative. And you choose what is better. It's a nice way of saying that, there's other stuff on this. I didn't want to talk about them. You read them, read me, and I know what you're going to choose. He's quite sure of himself, the Rambam, when it comes to this. And he says, Vahu, and this is as follows. Sheparo, I'm flipping the page, Vavadav Elu. Ilu lo hayalem avim, they would have not had any sin. Elazeh shalosh achus Yisrael. If they only had this sin that they did not send the Jews to freedom, that would be a hard problem. If we're going to take for granted, he did a sin, but then he didn't even give him the possibility of changing. Now you pressed more, knowing that you will not be able to change your view, and then punish him on that. This would be an avel, and everything we said before makes no sense, because everything we said before was based on the idea that a Kadosh Baruch Hu is not about avel, does not punish people if they didn't have free will. And here we have a reality that you're punishing him because first of all, he doesn't have free will. You manipulate that, and then you punish him. That makes no sense. Ella, she'ena davar kain, this is not the case here. They rebelled against God. They did atrocious things without a oinus, without a hechus. They acted terribly to those sojourners, guests living in their land, which means the Israelites. They did objective atrocities to them. As the pasuk says, etc. They were terrible atrocities which they did. No one forced them, no one intervened. He initiated the whole story. This they did because of their own free will and their terrible thinking and ideas. There was nothing at all pushing them or prodding them towards this decision. And what was the punishment on that? Yes, sometimes you do things which are so bad that God, even the punishment includes not enabling you to do tshuva. Yes, in other, there is siluk bchira as an einish. Sometimes people tell me, "What do you want? What could I do?" Maybe you could. Maybe the reason you couldn't is maybe it's hard for you now to decide because that's part of your einish. And Lemaisa, what the Kodesh Baruch Hu says, it's part of you. I'm going to make sure that you really are punished for your original aveiros by not making it easy for you to do tshuva. It's not they're going to be punished for what happens after the continuous rebellion. No, the continued rebellion is enough to say, therefore now you're not doing tshuva, you're going to be punished on your original rebellion. As if Paro would have said and not let the Jews go, and then he would have done tshuva, things would have been nice. But God was so angry, the atrocities were so big, he made sure he couldn't do tshuva to allow God to punish him for those original atrocities. A big yesod in emunah. Yes, sometimes we itself take away our bchira through our chatoim. Now, how far does this go? This I want to show you soon. The justice of God says, yes, you have to get this einish. There is no way I'm going to let you go. And you're not worthy of tshuva, and therefore I'm going to make sure you don't do it. That's an unbelievable reality. God if God wanted to take them out alone and finish, I would have destroyed them immediately. Why did God procrastinate? We know why. Etc. And I didn't need this to take you guys out. It could take you guys out long before Makkah's dam. I just would have wiped out the Egyptians and said goodbye. No, I had a purpose. And that purpose the purpose of the Einshim of the Makkahs were for an extraneous reason. That was the reason. In order to do that, he also decided that the einish of Paro will be that you will not be able to do tshuva in order to allow him to continue doing this. And then this is all part of the punishment of the original chait. This is the Brisbane Absurd. לפיכך מנע מהם את התשובה. והיו מחזקים בהם, והוא אמר כי אתה שלחתי את ידי אולם בעבור זו שימתיך. ואין בכך זרוס. This is not awkward to say. אם נאמר שיש השם עניש אדם בכך, שלא ישוב, לא ישאיר לו הבחירה בתשובה. That's not awkward. Can you say that God suddenly says you become blind, suddenly you won't be able to see things? Can you say, if I would have seen something, would have done tshuva? Your einish is to be blind. If all of a sudden you're deaf and all of a sudden therefore you can't change, or you get a stroke, who knows what I could have done tshuva. No, your einish is you are going to not be able in a situation where you won't be able to do tshuva. That's part of your einish. How can God do any disabilitating reality to a person that hampers the possibility of tshuva? That's part of the einish. That's included in the einish. The fishu yisal yodea ha'avaynes u'mechayeves chachmase v'tzidkai. God knows what and how and to whom to punish. There are people that only have the einish in olam hazeh, and olam haba they're doing well. There are people which adirabah and olam hazeh they're doing good. They'll get the bill in the restaurant up there in heaven. The people don't have either olam hazeh or olam haba. Everything is according to God's chachma. Yeshem anish beguf oib mamayin oishneim yachad. Kigain shemavatel mixes atnoi so Adam he makes sure he paralyzes something. You can't move a hand, you can't move a foot, etc. Shehaya b'chiri b'hen v'alderech ha'einish kigain sheyevatlas yodim milifol He froze his hand. All of a sudden, they were blind. Just as God can play with your physical reality, he plays with your emotional, psychological reality. He makes you careless. He makes you not sensitive. We are not obliged to know his wisdom. We have no right even to ask, why did God choose punishment A for Mr. B over punishment B for Mr. A, or so on and so forth? Just like you don't know, why don't you have a tail and animals have a tail? Why do you walk vertical and cows go horizontal? You don't ask the question. You're stuffed to the infinite wisdom of God. Same thing here. The chachma of Einish and Sechai is not within the realm of man to understand. So when we see these terrible books, why do bad things happen to good people? This is terrible. You're taking God down, cutting him down to your size. You don't understand the chachma, the mishpat keldeis of the infinite God. How can you even ask this question? What is it, your chavrusa? Who are we talking about? Okay? If you have the question why the globe is round, and why is it that the earth goes around the sun and not the sun around the earth, and why you exactly have one nose and two eyes instead of having two noses and one eye, then you have to ask that question too. Well, we'll make this. It likes an atzmis abayre. What's this question going to do with you? Aber klal ki kol drach of mishpat v'yanish is a chayte ki v'er chayte v'goymel la'isa cheski er chastoi. V'im tomar madua derash men l'shlech Yisrael pam achar pam bizman shemanu mekach. Okay, you took away his capability of tshuva. So why did you keep asking again? You know it's not going to happen. Okay, you took away tshuva. Ich bates liba again. Why did you press on? What was the idea of pressing further? That was already deterministic. He could not change. And the answer is, Ayub ba'osolava makot, v'omed b'siruvo, k'mo shamarnu, u'ne'enashi amod b'siruvo. So why did God, through Moshe, demand Pharaoh to do things which he knew were not going to happen? It's also part of God's chachma. This is to teach him also, not just you and me. Teach Pharaoh. You see what happens in front of your face and you're doing crazy things. And every time he regrets, in a minute, then a day later, he's back to his game again. In other words, he wanted him to understand the vulnerability of man, that sin is so much that God can literally take away your capability of making these decisions. He wanted him to know that, and you and me to know that through him. Again, that was the reason of constantly pushing and asking. If you would have actually complied, you would have been saved. You won't do it, brother dear. Until finally you'll be destroyed because of your original sins. He tried to, I'm going to see. What did he always say? No, I'm going to send them. What was he trying to prove? No, it's not true. I can't change my will. That was the constant dialogue of Pharaoh saying, yes, they're going. I'm going to prove that your God's off the charts, man. He thinks I can't make decisions. I will. And then he said at the end, he couldn't. The game was back and forth. Can God take away the capability of decision from a person? This is the opposite. And that was the reason why God wanted to prove I can't take it away from you. And he said, no, he can't. And the end, he took it away from him. כמו שאמר, למען ספר שמי בכל הארץ, שיש שהשם מעניש את האדם, במה שמונע ממנו בחירת פעולה מסוימת. וידע הוא בכך ולא יוכל למשוך את נפשו ולהחזירה לאותה בחירה. You go off the boards, you won't be able to come back. This is called Baal lo yeshuvun. ועל דרך זה עצמה, הוא אין לשיחה מלך חשבון. The same thing also. What happens? What happens? God tells him, Sichon won't let you pass. 1 minute. If that was his whole sin, how come what's the geschäft? What do you mean Sichon won't let you pass? You're talking about a specific person. That's already a hechrech. How come he's nenash? So he says again, he had previous sins which the Torah doesn't discuss. His punishment was that he would not comply to the request of the Israelites. This obviously caused a war. Etc. That Hiksha Lev Sichon was because of all previous Chatoim. Umasha Ukshazeh al Kol HaMeforshim B'Chashron Shesichon Nernash Al Shalei Nitlon Yisrael Lava Ba'artzoi. All the different Meforshim of Chumash have this problem. If the whole Muhammad was because he didn't let them cross through his land, why was he punished? Heich Nernash V'Ayu Muchrach K'Moshe Chashu Sheparei Nernash Uva'avadav Al Shelo Shalach Yisrael, and that's not true. Ein Adavar Elek Moshe Bi'arnu. The Makkos were not an einish on the Mitzrim. The Makkos was there for God's agenda to prove that God controls the reality, to the extent even controls your capability of decision because of your punishment, because of your chatoim. The einish was because of what happened before in the avodim, ve'inu oisoim, etc. That was the einish. And part of that einish was silika b'chira of tshuva. Now here I want us to understand before we go further, this is taking things to an extreme. But the truth of the matter is there is also something that because that we also have to pray for. We also have these type of einship. If you open up a Rambam in your sheets, your Rambam Perek Vav Tshuva, in the end of Halacha Gimel, here he discusses Farai and he discusses Sichain, and then he discusses the Jews in the times of Eliyahu. And the last sentence of Halacha Gimel is Elakulam chotom atzman. Then the Rambam continues in Halacha Daled, which is really intriguing. This is not punishment of Prakim, and this is a very interesting move. This is taking the same principle to you and me. The tzaddikim and Nevi'im also pray that God should intervene and help them to find the truth. David, teach me your ways. Klomar, what does that mean? Teach me your ways. Klomar, let my chatoim not stop me from finding the truth. How does this fit in the words Hareini, teach me your ways? What does he mean here? So here I want to add in a kuda, which is really very important. There's a very, very Bavusta Igris Haramba. I sent it to you. I sent it to you before the shir. There's an Igris Haramba dealing with the Nusach of Birchas HaTorah. It's a very interesting halacha. Rama writes in the second paragraph of the tshuva, you have it. Ve'yoisach hasima noisen HaTorah me'ein ha'bracha l'fi inyana. Baruch atah Hashem noisen HaTorah. So it says, what does that mean? The fishin yana asher chiev oisanu b'limuda. V'zeh inyan hanasina. Nice and Torah doesn't mean the giver. It means he gave me something to learn. The intim shat in Rambam. Rambam says, nice and Torah, not you gave me the Torah. That you gave me something which I have to study. Now this is actually Batla Allah. I want to point something out to you. In my Shuvas Rambam here, there's I wrote myself a mavav, a gra. There was a gra in Shulchan Aruch which always bothered me until Baruch Hashem I found this Rambam, and that's obviously the Makkah. But I don't know if it's the Makkah, it's the wherever the Rambam got it from. The gra had the same thing. That's what I have to say. I don't think the Rambam had this. The gra had this Shuvas Rambam. It's in Simon Mem Zayin and Archaim Sif Yud Dalet, where the did I just close the video on here? How did I do that? Oh, I'm there again. Okay. The Shulchan Aruch writes, Nashim mevorchais birchas HaTorah. We all know that. And the Magen Avraham and the Taz explain because they're chayiv in tefillah, and part of tefillah is parshas HaKarbanos and other things, and parshas HaKarbanos they have to say, period. There, the approach to parshas HaKarbanos is not because of the birchas HaTorah. Parshas HaKarbanos is because Seder HaTefillah, and since they have to say the parshas HaKarbanos and Seder HaTefillah, and since it's also Torah, you have to make it birchas HaTorah, and they're mechuyev in that say parshas HaKarbanos. Rambam couldn't hold that way if he wanted to, because Rambam said the opposite. We say parshas HaKarbanos because we said birchas HaTorah. It says Rambam's the opposite. Rambam says parshas HaKarbanos is not something you say anyway. It's one of the things we say because we said birchas HaTorah. You can look it up, the Rambam in Ichus Brachas, and you'll see it there. The Gra really goes to town on this. And the Gra writes as follows. Ayin Magen Avraham v'divreim dechuyim b'kama pamim v'krot tzovach v'limatem es b'neichem lo b'nei seichem. Of course, you're supposed to teach your sons and not your daughters. Heich Tomar, how can she possibly say vitzivanu if there's no commandment for her to learn? And what else can't she say? How can she say v'nosan lanu? How can she say bocher banu v'kalamim v'nosan lanu es teirasai? How can she say that? And I always didn't understand this draw. Why can't she say v'nosan lanu? Women didn't receive the Torah. What's he saying? I understand she can't say. Because there's a possibility she not must live in Nechem, live in Sechem. Why can't she say v'nosan lanu es Torah? The Gra look mefurish. Heich tomer v'tzivanu v'nosan lanu. What's muchach from the Gra? V'nosan lanu doesn't mean we got the Bible. V'nosan lanu in order to learn. It's nesina that mamish this Rambam. V'nosan lanu noisen HaTorah is a siyum on the idea that we have to be limud HaTorah. And that's the lotion of this Rambam. So the Rambam zui kavanas habracha bakoshis hayisiyua al limuda. Your bracha is what's a bracha, and you're asking for siyata d'shmaya, helping you in what you have to do is learn. That's the Gra. Okay, I just want to put this on the table. It's a very nice shidduch. I mean, I don't think I have precedent on this, so this is copyrighted. Okay, that's a chayre davar pashut. V'omnam im yachtem hamalamed Torah. What happens if the sichsimah would have been hamalamed Torah? Hamalamed Torah. You know, people saying that was hamalamed Torah. If you would have made a bracha hamalamed Torah, zot the Rambam, harehu toeh. This would be a mistake. Lefiyash Hashem lo yamandenu doisa. God does not teach us. Ela tzivanu lelamda ulelamda. You're commanded to do it on your own, to learn yourself, and to teach others. V'zenim shach, that God does not teach me Torah. Acher ikar Torah, based on this major principle of faith, v'hu sha'maseh mitzvot b'yadeinu, because the ma'aseh of mitzvahs is in our bechira. God doesn't stick it down my throat. There's no echad from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to learn. That the idea of saying Lelame Torah is pointing out that I have it. No, you have to work on it yourself. I'm not going to teach it to you. To say that God teaches you Torah is a steer to Bechira Chofshis. That's an unbelievable thing. This is Mamish this Gra, and this is what the Rambam says over here. If we look at it carefully, so we understand there's no such thing as God. So what are we praying? What did we say? We say the pasuk again. Halachadah Shailin Neviim Lazor Derech Emes K'moshe Hareini Hashem Drachecha. That's Hamalamed Torah. So how could David HaMelech say Hareini Hashem Drachecha when the Rambam said that Hamalamed Torah is the steer to Bechira Chofshis? When the Gra writes nice in Torah in order that we should learn it, it doesn't just give it. Nesina means a tzivui of limud. I'm giving you a tzivui of limud HaTorah. That's what nice in HaTorah means. Unbelievable Gra, and that's obviously the right Geras Ramba. And you shouldn't say Malamed Torah. So what's the meaning of Malamed Torah and Hareini? So what does the Rambam answer? This is unbelievable. If you wouldn't chop this tshuva Sarama, you wouldn't chop the beauty of this piece. And for the Rambam, Kolaimar, it doesn't mean that you should teach me. Ella al yimnauni chatoai derech emes. Don't punish me that my mischatoim will make me careless and I won't be have the derech ha'emes and then I won't know. Don't punish me that I won't have the cheshik to learn. Don't punish me by silik my bchira and I'll be wasting my time on baseball and basketball instead of wanting to read another Rashba. So this is what he says. Hareini doesn't mean to say, teach me. Hareini means, al yiminoi chatoi derech ha'emes. Shemimena eida derech v'yichud shmecha. Yes, if I learn, I will know. Who asked me, what book should I read for to know Yichud Hashem? Which books? Torah Tziva Olanu Moshe Merosha Kilis Yaakov. That's which books. Okay? V'chein zeh she'omar Beruach nediva tismecheni kloimer taniach ruchi lasos chefsa va'al yigimru li chatoi liman'eni atshuva shelo tieh b'shusi biyodi ad she'echzer v'avim ve'dad derech emes. We pray before we get into a bad place that our chatoim should not go to a place that should translate into menias atshuva or menias bechira. Help me get to a situation which I don't have to go there. Take away the meniyah. But that's what your prayer. Your constant prayer has to be that your chatoim should not be moneh, the quality of your bechira, and shouldn't be moneh, your tshuva, and keep your eyes open to know derech hames. This is an unbelievable rabbin. This is the whole thing in what we're talking about. I'm going to read the Rambam further if you don't mind here in the Yad. In halacha hey, umau zeh shamar David Tovi Yosha Hashem al kein yorech hatoim baderech. Seem to say that he's meirech hatoim baderech. Yadrich anovim b'mishpat v'yelamed anovim darkloi. Does it mean that he teaches us? He's misalik your bchira. This doesn't add up. So he says that's not what it means. It means yesholach lahem neviim moedim lederech Hashem machzir as a b'tshuva. He sent you good teachers. Now it's up to you to use them. We know, historically speaking, most of the Jews did not use them well. That's why we're in Golus. The Nevi'im at the time were not very successful. I think today they're much more successful than they were then. We're not killing Nevi'im. We're not putting them in jail. You know, we're not, Yirmiyahu had a hard life. Yeshayahu got killed by his own grandson. I mean, these guys had a hard life. Okay, Eliyahu, poor guy, had to live in the desert. You know what I mean? I think today the people wouldn't do that, but at the time it was quite nishgut. Yeah, he gave them sight to the shmai. This God always does. If a person draws and follows the derech of chokhmah and tzedek, he obsessively wants more. Where did he get this obsessive desire? So the Rambam v'husham rucha chamim b'derech bo l'tayer misayim oisa klema yimtza atzmo nezal adavar. That's what you have. So going back, this is like an added piece which is not from the Shemona Prakim. This idea that God plays with your bechira due to your chatoim is not just silik to bechira legamri. It's also making things harder for us, and this can happen to us. And that's why they said David HaMelech, etc., had to pray that he shouldn't fall into that pit. And that's something we should all pray for. That when we say Hareini Hashem Torchecha, it means say, give me a good teacher. Don't think that God is going to teach you anything. The teaching of God is intervening in your Ma'aseh Mitzvah. That's not there. It means to say he'll give you sight, he'll give you good teachers, he'll give you situations where you will be able to do these things. What is the idea of the Messianic era? The Rambam writes Meshurach Melachim. What's it for? It's in order that we should have nachas and parnasa. We shouldn't have to worry too much about Olam Hazeh. We should be able to take our whole self to focus only on the true realities of life, of Yichudoi, Avasa, Yirasoi, etc. Once again, we're going to have Bechira. Doesn't think because you're going to have a Mashiach with Gutta Pranasa, there won't be Chatoim. Believe me, there'll be Chayve Misa, there'll be Chayve Malkius. Doesn't say anywhere there won't be Chatoim then. It's a Baba Maisa. There's going to be a serious Rish Chodesh. A serious Rish Chodesh is a Korban Chatas more the Kula Alma. Doesn't say anywhere you're not going to have Musar Rish Chodesh. There's going to be Musar Rish Chodesh. There's going to be Soyer Lechaper. My entire all you Musafim have a Soyer Lechaper. It's going to be Chait. We got to put this on the table. People that think Mashiach is going to come by, it's going to be a beautiful world. It'll only be a world which is conducive for growth depending on your bechira. He's definitely not going to pay your taxes. He's definitely not going to help with the coronavirus. What's he going to do? There's going to be a natural reality in the world, so to speak, that parnasa will be b'shefa, and people will not be worrying, and people will be a bit more looking at values, and that's conducive for you to live. There'll be parnasa b'shefa, all that, but it doesn't say anywhere. Like said by Matan Torah, that all the sick people will be healed. Only by Matan Torah we have a medrash says that all the sick people will be healed. I don't know that there's anywhere in Rama Malachim that all the sick people will be healed. It doesn't say that people who are blind will suddenly open their eyes. Steht nicht. I want us to understand that the B'dzicha, as far as it comes to mitzvahs and ma'asim tov, and get used to it. There's going to be Zakin Mamre, the works. Okay, this is all going to happen. Elamai halavai, that the bechira is going to be seen much easier. Because be more excited to Shmaya, they'll probably hopefully be less. Until we finally come to the Yom Adin HaGadol, which is what you call Achas HaYamim, where man will have totally cleansed himself from the Nachash HaKadmoni. It's a whole different reality post-Messianic era. Very thing to know, because many people make mistakes about this, and it's funny, you know. You want Mashiach now to do what exactly? Sometimes you want, if the chat is you're dying to learn, and Namch, you don't have time because you're busy going to the office. I wish Mashiach was there because the parnasa would be b'shefa. I could put in my nice 12 hours a day without having, that'd be the typical dream of any CEO of a company. This would be tremendous, okay? But that's what this is. Nicht mehr, nicht weniger. Okay, very important thing to remember. That's what we just learned here. We're looking for Siyata D'Shmai. So let's continue this piece in this chapter back to the Shmona Prakim. I'm going to finish this paragraph in the column. Now we understand this reality that God does intervene to take away Bechira. It's not just by Sichain, and it's not just by Para. He said it also happened to the Jews. When did this happen? In the times of Eliyahu Hanavi. Steht the Rambam weiter in the Shmona Prakim, Lefia Yisod Ezel Misparshin Divrei Eliyahu Olav HaSholem Ala Koifrim Sheba'anshe Doiroi. When we talk Koifrim there, we don't mean a Koifrim doesn't believe that we call it today. It means to the Oved Avodah Zarah, which would Koifrim Yichud Hashem. The pasuk said, "V'atayisi b'isas libam acharanis." You turn their hearts backwards, away from you. Now that's mamish silika b'chira. So he says, "Klema kivin shehimru b'rtzainam." Once again, because they had rebelled out of their own free will. Haya ansham anshachalahem. Your punishment, Eliyahu says, to those people was sheyatel libam midake hatshuva. I didn't tell them to avoid desire. I took them away, made them callous to the idea of darkei hatshuva. They had no ratzain to walk away from the chait. But that was because of an einish of the chait. Ke'ein amru chevra atzavim Ephraim hanachloi klema hu nischaber le'elilim b'rtzaina v'avam oin she'yishe'er ba'avasam v'zeu inyan hanachloi v'zeh nifloya pirushim lefi lemisha mevin dakus ha'inyanim. This is the Yesod Gadol of the Rama. So I think we learned a big Yesod today. Yes, God gives us free will, but we're capable of losing it. That's what I'm trying to say. We're capable of losing it, and there's precedent. Parai, Sichain, Derish Eliyahu, and actually, according to what we added in the Yad, we ourselves are capable of losing it on our own at different degrees. And there has to be a lot of tefillah on this. As we pointed out, does not mean that God teaches. God says, please take away the meniyim from my asmada. Take away the meniyim from my shkida. Take away the meniyim from my ratzon. Those are the tefillahs, and that's a very important thing. Shoin, I think it's enough for now. Have a great evening, afternoon, whatever it is, and I'll see you tomorrow. We start Yakir, right? That's what we're starting. Okay. Bracha v'atzlacha.
Thank you.